Okay, so try this in the New York Times. And I got a whole stack of this stuff. And I told you, I warned everybody back on March the 3rd, 16 days ago. I predicted it. I warned everybody. It wasn't hard to do. Many people could have made the prediction. Few did. And you'll hear it coming up. But try this. Benjamin Netanyahu's victory appears, this is the New York Times, Benjamin Netanyahu's victory appears to have dashed any hopes that President Obama might have had for a way out of his tumultuous and often bitter relationship with the leader. Are you kidding me? So we are being told here in the New York Times that a foreign leader of an allied nation winning his own election justifies disrespect from the President of the United States. That Benjamin Netanyahu winning is an act of insolence against our dear leader. And next thing you know, Obama's going to be suggesting mandatory voting. Oh, wait, he did. You didn't know that? He did in Cleveland. Mandatory voting. Greetings, my friends, and welcome Rush Limbaugh, the EIB Network, and the Limbaugh Institute for Advanced Conservative Studies. I've got stories like this all over the place. Obama to punish Jews at United Nations for re-electing Netanyahu. That is from Foreign Policy. From the Weekly Standard, White House, Bibi's election undermines democratic ideals. That is what they're telling the media at the White House, that Netanyahu winning a free and open election in his own country undermines democratic ideals. Folks, I'm telling you, we're on the precipice, I think, of real danger here. These next 2 years, there are no impediments. There's nothing stopping. And this stuff is really, really scary. This is the stuff that Saturday Night Live skits are made of. Except this is as real, isn't it? We have the leader of the free world, Barack Obama, the president of the United States, actually now planning on going to the United Nations to undermine our ally, Israel, in favor of our enemy, Iran. And I would dare say our other enemies, Hamas and Hezbollah. This is unbelievable. And the media right in there reporting this stuff. How dare Netanyahu disrespect Obama like this by winning? How dare he? Who does he think he is, winning his own election, when everybody knows Obama did not want him to? And so now that the people of Israel have elected Netanyahu, and of course there's racism. Oh, yes, despite everybody in the Middle East is the same race. They're all Semites. I'm talking race. They're all Semites. I mean, how in the hell do you have racism in Israel when talking about Israeli Arabs versus Israeli? They're all Semites, for crying out loud. Not saying the same religion, obviously. But this is uncanny. From the Politico, Israel's shield no more. Obama is so ticked off. He's being so petulant. Like a spoiled, rotten little kid, he's vowing not to protect Israel anymore at the United Nations in the Security Council. Because they had the audacity to re-elect Benjamin Netanyahu. Obama is taking this as a personal slap in the face. AP, Netanyahu win dashes prospect for a thaw with Obama. So the only way American-Israeli relations were going to advance is if Netanyahu lost. But Netanyahu won, and that is considered a personal insult, an act of insolence against Barack Hussein O. And this Weekly Standard headline again, White House, Bibi's election undermines Democrat ideals. We just had democracy on display in Israel. That was a free and open democratic election. But somehow the wrong guy won, according to Obama and the United States administration, and therefore, since they didn't get the result they want, democratic ideals have been undermined. I want to take you back March 3rd. This is what I said. This is after Netanyahu's speech. And I predicted that Obama would react as a spoiled, rotten little kid and would double down on everything he's trying to do with Iran in a fit of pique, childish anger at Netanyahu for daring to accept Boehner's invitation to speak to a joint session of Congress. When Obama thinks he's been embarrassed, when Obama thinks he's been shown up, doubles down on revenge. Oh, you don't like this deal? Oh, you think I don't know what I'm doing? Oh, you think that you can come to my country and tell me how it's going to be? Well, watch this. And bammo, fast-track the deal and make it even worse than it is. And it looks like that's exactly what's happening. Obama is pledging to remove sanctions. Get this. Obama is suggesting that he's going to remove sanctions from Iran and put them on Israel. I have it right here in my stack of stuff that the administration is considering sanctions on Israel. Here's Major Garrett. This morning on CBS this morning, he had a report about Obama's plans for helping the Palestinians now that Netanyahu has said they're not going to get their own state since he won re-election.
President Obama has ordered his top advisors to seek alternatives to direct talks between the Israelis and Palestinians. The leading option for the White House, and one that would amount to a significant reversal of American policy, would be to allow the United Nations Security Council to pass a resolution recognizing a Palestinian state. The White House has worked with Israel in the past to block such maneuvers, arguing it would unnecessarily inflame Israeli political passions and undermine a fragile peace process. Letting the United Nations Security Council proceed now appears to be a live option.
And there is no peace process. There's a peace industry, but there is no peace process. Actually, a process is what it is. That's all it is. It's a process. Nothing ever happens in it except it processes itself. It just keeps processing. And the process keeps recycling. It's become an industry. But now Obama is going to go to the United Nations Security Council to get Palestinian statehood, and he is going to block the Israeli vote opposed to it, overcome it. With since he refuses to work with Netanyahu. What this means is Netanyahu won, so we're done. We're out of it. We're finished working with Israel. We just can't. They're a bunch of racist pigs. That's what Obama says. That's what the regime is saying. Well, they played the race card, accusing Netanyahu and the campaign of his of playing the race card in order to win the election, which is patently absurd. But since Netanyahu won, we're through. We're done. Israel, it's been fun while it lasted, but we'll see you at the Security Council. We actually, the United States of America now appears to be changing policy such a way that the objective is to undermine Israel and promote Iran and its related affiliates, Hamas, Hezbollah, Bashar al-Assad, Putin, whoever the hell else. Ron Fournier took a break from being worried about Hillary and is now worried about Obama. It's on CNN's New Day today during Inside Politics. And the question came from Julie Pace. The U.S. has vowed to use its veto power at the Security Council, vowed to block any efforts there. But now they're saying it's possible we could ease up and try to let them get statehood, the Palestinians, that way. Do it at the Security Council while undermining our ally Israel. What do you think of that, Ron?
Israel's enemies, whatever you want to say about Bibi, they're playing for keeps. And the U.S. could be playing with fire if they're going to play these kind of games in the UN. I am not a big fan of Bibi. I think the administration has every reason to be upset with him. But somebody's got to be the adult in the room in this relationship. And somebody's got to reach out and say, how do we put this back together and have peace talks again and have a decent relationship? We can't have our White House acting just as petulant as Bibi.
How is Bibi acting petulant? What in the world is going on? We're living in a twilight zone here. Bibi's acting all he did was win an election. Is this some grand act of insolence and disrespect? No, look, I know what they're talking about, what they can't abide. And I'm not trying to hide behind it. I'm trying to ignore it. I'll say what it is. They think, people like this, Fournier, the media, the Obama administration, they think that Netanyahu pulled out his Tea Party membership card and threw down the race card against the Arabs. And you might be saying, well, how did they do that? Well, according to these people, the way Bibi played the race card was at the last minute, when the polls made it look nip and tuck, when the polls made it look like Netanyahu might lose. I mean, the media made everybody think that Netanyahu was on his last legs, and that, of course, created in Netanyahu a sense of, well, I've got to put out all the stops. So in order to secure turnout of his base, he pledged that he would oppose a two-state solution with a Palestinian state because he understands that the two-state solution is not a two-state solution. The Palestinians do not want two states. The Palestinians want their state and bye-bye Israel. There is no such thing as a two-state solution. Israel, Bibi, had to go along with this for years. It's what the U.S. demanded. You better be for a two-state solution or we're going to deny you the money. You better do this, you better do that. And so they went along with it. Netanyahu on the, ostensibly, I mean, look at, I think Obama and his buddies only have themselves to blame for this. They're the ones who put out a bunch of phony polling data that made it look like Netanyahu was going to lose. They're the ones that had all the media and all the polling data and all the news stories before the election saying it was essentially over, that Herzog was going to win, that Netanyahu was going to lose. So if you're Netanyahu and you're consuming the news like everybody else does and you're seeing that you're losing in pre-election polls, you might lose the turnout. What do? You do what every politician in the world does. You try to get out your base. You try to turn out the vote. So Netanyahu speaks from the heart and says, you know what, there isn't going to be a Palestinian state if I'm reelected. He came to his senses. There's no such thing as a two-state solution. That is considered playing the race card. And I know you're saying, wait a minute, Rush, how is Netanyahu avowing that there will not be a Palestinian state playing the race card? Well, because you see, it's racist not to let the poor Palestinians have their own country. Yes, it's very, very racist. Now, why? No, because the Palestinians are the minority, and they're people of color. But wait, so are the Israelis. They're all Semites. Yes, but you're not supposed to look at it that way. You're supposed to see the Israelis as the white Koch brothers in Israel, and you're supposed to see the Palestinians as the blacks in Ferguson, Missouri. That's the construct. And so the Koch brothers pulled out all the stops and said they're going to do everything they can to make sure the gentle giant doesn't get away with framing the cop. And that's playing the race card. Because you see, Netanyahu had to fight what he was being told was going to be a massive Arab turnout. A lot of Arabs that live in Israel peacefully, they've got everything they want there. I guarantee you, if you've never been to Israel, and if you go, the biggest shock you're going to get, you're going to see so many Arabs walking around, and you're going to, wait a minute. I thought the Israelis hated the Arabs. I thought, what? Yeah, because you've been fed a bunch of lies about the nation of Israel and how it conducts itself. There is an entire Arab quarter, Jerusalem. They run around. They're free as they can be. They're more free. The women Arabs, female Arabs in Israel are more free than they are in other countries in the Middle East. They have access to everything. They're not denied. They're not discriminated against. You'd be shocked if you were to get off the plane and start walking that country, driving that country. You'd be stunned, particularly in Jerusalem. Anyway, Netanyahu was accused of playing the race card by promising there wouldn't be a Palestinian state. He was trying to counter what the media was telling him was going to be this massive Israeli Arab turnout at the polls. 1.7 million is the Arab population in Israel, and 50 to 75% of them voted in the last election, so it's a big turnout, so you got to counter it. And the Democrats, just like they're playing a race card in this stupid, what's her name, Lynch? Loretta Lynch, the Democrats are playing the race card on her, and the Republicans on her, claiming they're putting her nomination at the back of the bus. She's the nominee to replace Holder. And the Democrats are running around, led by Dick Durbin, claiming the Republicans are playing the race card here, when in fact not a single Democrat voted for Condoleezza Rice for Secretary of State. Not a one of them. Yeah, and Durbin led the fight against Janice Rogers Brown as a black conservative. But anyway, there's some theory that when you start throwing the race card on everything, it's a sign you're losing. For the Democrats, it's worked. And so they're trying to infect Israeli politics with American politics. It's the regime doing this, accusing Netanyahu of the race card. But anyway, bottom line is Netanyahu wins. That's the end of our relationship with Israel. Out an act of insolence. How dare they? How dare those Israelis disrespect their dear leader?